The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
I'm Mike Hebert, owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. Every day is game day, and we'll get it right when it comes to your roofing, construction, windows, and mirrors. Call Cantex Roofing and Construction today. Together, we are one serving you.
It's great to have you with us today on the Morning Drive. Okay, so the official tee-off time for Ludwig Aubert, you got him, the double T guy, 9:48 this morning. Okay. So that you can keep an eye. We'll keep an eye on Ludwig. And as far as Mr. Scott, he is underway, and Callum is +1 for the day through 3 holes. So he's +1 for the tournament, I should say, and he's 1 over because he was even at the end of 1, so he's 1 over for the day as well. So he's tied for 28th right now. The projected cut for the British Open is 3 over. So Ludwig at this point in time has got to kind of get back into the swing of things. I found this really, really interesting yesterday, and you guys may go, "Wow, there's nothing to see here," but it just I didn't know that you could do this, but apparently you can. Lamar Jackson, who is the reigning MVP in the NFL, plays for the Baltimore Ravens, still looking for his first Super Bowl, is challenging a trademark in the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, according to federal records. He is challenging the trademark of 8 because Troy Aikman is using 8 in apparel and bags. And Mr. Jackson, who owns or has applied for several trademarks using the number in various phrases, says Aikman's attempt to use 8 on apparel and bags would be likely to cause confusion or cause mistake or to deceive the purchasing public as to whether they're buying products from Jackson or Aikman's company. This particular lawsuit says that Jackson has expended considerable time, effort, and expense in promoting, advertising, and popularizing the number 8 in connection with his personality and fame, and is well known by this number due to his notoriety and fame, along with his promotion of this number in his trademarks and in media coverage.
It's a number.
It's a number. That's correct.
It feels like anybody should be able to use a number. Now, if he's writing it a certain way, that's Lamar Jackson's way, then it's got his initials in it or something like that, then I'll listen to an argument. But either way, it feels like both guys can do whatever they want with the number 8. And so could Chuck Hines, Jamie Lent, and Jeff McGuire.
Mm-hmm. Apparently, according to a law professor at American University, the truth is you can own almost anything you think of as a trademark. You can own a smell, you can own a sound, you can own a single color, you can own a single number. Gosh.
You can own a smell.
You can own a smell.
Yeah,
Mr. Jackson,
I've known some people that own smells.
And then some people that don't own them, right? Yeah.
I think the smell that you can own is like a perfume or a cologne, like it's a specific formula. Now, the other type of smell that you're talking about, they own those, but unfortunately, we get those for free.
Apparently, Mr. Jackson has things like Era 8 by Lamar Jackson, Era 8 with just the number, You 8 Yet with the number 8 Yet, and a logo of a stylized wild dog over a shield with 2018 Era 8 by Lamar Jackson 2018 around the dog.
I wish I'd seen this story before I came into work today.
Mm-hmm.
I would have worn my Aikman jersey today.
Either one of them can make clothes or handbags or whatever they want with an 8 in it.
Go forth and conquer, guys.
Have at it, guys. I don't think anybody owns the number 8.
Yeah. The other.
I'm bothered that you wasted time at the patent office with claiming this. Whichever one is complaining about the other one.
Lamar Jackson's complaining about Troy Aikman.
Yeah.
Now, I'll say this. All of those specialty logos that he put together...
That's different.
Totally different.
Totally different.
Totally different, right.
But we're just talking number 8.
But and Aikman's 8 is spelled out, just to complain about that. The other, in this article, the other number 8s, you want to throw out some other number 8s that are famous? Do you have those?
Yogi, Steve Young.
Yeah, Yogi is in there. Steve Young is in there. Cal Ripken Jr.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Also played in Baltimore, by the way.
Bo Jackson with the White Sox.
Okay. Carl Yastrzemski. Kobe Bryant also was an 8. And
Till he switched.
2.
Man. 24.
24. Okay, thank you.
Didn't want you to get tripped up there.
Okay, thank you. And then Washington Capital star Alex Ovechkin. Okay, so
yep.
So anyway, so that's just it's like that seems kind of crazy to me that like you said that people would be that bothered by that. Okay, be that bothered by that.
Well, obviously he's got people that. I mean, I would bet this is not all about Lamar Jackson. I bet he's got lawyers and people. That are claiming this. I wouldn't guess Lamar would even know. Troy Aikman sells handbags with 8 on it.
I think Troy has a beer too.
He does.
8.
He does.
I've never had it. I have no idea.
He has a what?
He has a beer too. That's called. I think Jeff is right. It's called 8. Okay. It's called 8. So anyway, I've not had that either. So anyway,
I try one.
Yeah, especially if Troy Aikman served it to you, that'd be even more special, wouldn't it?
No, if I just saw it in the store, I'd probably get one. Like Troy, one way or the other.
Yeah,
I'd try it.
Beers. Yeah, see if you thought it would go down smoothly. All right, 6:39 this morning here on the morning drive. I feel like. Of the stories that I've brought up so far this morning, am I 0 for 2 or 1 for 3?
No, these are stories.
They're stories. I mean,
they're stories.
Just thought a couple things for you to kick around to think about.
I don't think whatever Stoop said for Kentucky was a big deal. I think that was much to do about nothing.
With the Stoops, with the 8 was the third story.
The Oklahoma State
okay.
theme day for when we play them. Encouraging people to wear orange. And
they got to the stripe game. That's a 1 for 3. It's Hall of Fame day.
I'm just being honest. I didn't care.
Yeah, okay. I just thought you may want to put that on your calendar for when you go to Stillwater in November.
This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
It's history. Today is the 19th day of July, 2024. Here's Jeff McGuire.
Going to start us off in 1910 because this is when Cy Young got his 500th game. His 500th win in a game of baseball for his Hall of Fame career as the Cleveland Naps beat the Washington Senators 5-2 in 11 innings. As we all know, he's the only pitcher in Major League Baseball history to achieve that milestone.
It's crazy when you think about, okay, he got to 500 wins, and he did it by 1910. It goes to show you how old baseball is.
Mm-hmm. And also how different the game was before 1900. He didn't get 500 wins in 10 years. Like you were looking at some guys who were pitching underhand for a while. It was a different game. No, it was. Yeah. Go back and watch when he started, you could pitch every day. That obviously has slowed down.
Yes.
1920, Babe Ruth hits his 30th home run. I have a feeling Mike Gustafson is texting me. No, he's not. This is normally when Gus would tell me something about baseball that I didn't know. Mm-hmm. Babe Ruth hits his 30th home run of the 1920 season, breaking his own single-season record. He would attain 54 throughout the year before breaking that record again the next year. 1933, a first in Major League Baseball. Two brothers on opposite teams hit home runs in the same game. Rick, playing for the Red Sox, and Wes Farrell, playing for the Cleveland Indians.
I did not know that Wes Farrell had a brother that played baseball. Okay.
1975, New York Yankees catcher Thurman Munson's first inning single and RBI are nullified because he pulled a George Brett. He had too much batting. He had too much tar on his bat.
Seriously?
It exceeded the 18-inch limit. Minnesota Twins win the game 2-1.
Thus, probably why 8 years later, Munson was among those that protested because of Brett's bat in 1983. Wow. I didn't know that Munson had that called on him.
Interesting.
1987, New York Yankees' Don Mattingly sets an American League record of extra base hits in 10 consecutive games.
And remember, he had homered in 8 consecutive.
1990, Cincinnati Reds' Pete Rose is sentenced to 5 months in prison for tax evasion.
They Al Caponed him.
And in 2016, for the second straight day, the Marlins get an extra inning win over the Phillies thanks to former Red Raider A.J. Ramos getting his 31st save of the year. This one was 2-1 in the 10th. It is National Daiquiri Day.
Okay, I'm good.
Happy birthday. Benedict Cumberbatch is 48. Brian
That's
May.
quite a name.
What does he do?
He's an actor.
Okay.
He was he played in the TV series Sherlock. He's in the Avengers as I'm blanking on his name. He's the
Well, you could say it and we wouldn't.
No. I know
Yeah.
this. Hang on.
Benedict Cumberbatch.
Cumberbatch.
Yeah, that sounds like a made-up name.
Doctor Strange. That's his name.
Yeah, sure.
Why am I struggling with this? Because, yeah, he's also he's a really. If you saw him, I'm sure you would recognize his face. Anthony Edwards, either Dr. Green or Goose, whoever you want to call him as, 62. LaMarcus Aldridge is 39. And what?
I was just wondering if I don't know who is the other guy you're talking about. Goose?
Anthony Edwards?
Yeah, was he in Top Gun?
I swear to God, I'm going to make you guys do it again. I'm going to sit in front of him and make him watch Top Gun.
Well, I felt well aware. I just didn't know.
There's only one Goose.
Okay, well.
Yeah. What did you say his name was?
Anthony Edwards. I said either Dr. Green from ER or Goose, whichever one you want to call him.
Are you sure it's not the guy who plays for Minnesota Timberwolves?
Anthony Edwards?
Yeah.
I'm sure. This is the Anthony Edwards from Dr. Green
Okay.
LaMarcus Aldridge is 39.
We frustrated you.
Yes.
And George Sneed, 55 today.
Way to go, Chris.
Yeah, Chris,
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to the official.
And on this day in 64, as in the actual 64, the Great Fire of Rome breaks out and destroys much of the city beginning on July 19th in the year 64. Despite the well-known stories, however, there is no evidence that Roman Emperor Nero either started the fire nor played his fiddle while it burned. Still, he did use the disaster to further his political agenda, like every politician does. And that is this day in sports history.
All right, this day in sports history. Thank you, Jeff. 6:50 this morning here on the morning drive. Don't know if you saw this yesterday or not, but it had been coming. Utah State has fired its football coach, Blake Anderson. This is 2 weeks after informing him that they intended to do that. And I guess probably within the protocols of the university, they had to do that and then cite the violations. They have cited significant violations related to the reporting requirements for all Utah State employees. These reporting requirements, according to ESPN, include a prohibition on employees outside the Utah State University Office of Equity from investigating issues of sexual misconduct, including domestic violence. Additionally, Coach Anderson failed to manage the team in a manner that reflects Utah State's academic values, et cetera, et cetera. My point in all this is I just wonder, would Matt Wells want to go back and take over the head coaching job? Would they want him back?
Oh, yeah, it's a good question. Good question. I don't know. I mean, you'd think he'd want to be a head coach again. Mm-hmm. I think he's the highly thought of there as an alum and all that good stuff. So, yeah, I don't know.
He's currently the associate head coach, co-offensive coordinator, and quarterbacks coach at Kansas State after being an analyst at Oklahoma the last 2 years, 2022 and 2023. He coached at Texas Tech until the midway point after the Kansas State game in the 2021 season. So anyway, I saw that and went, I wonder if that's something that he would want to do again, or does he go? And maybe they go, hey, you left us once, you're going to leave us again. And they had some pretty good years under him.
Sure.
So at any rate, they won a Mountain West Division championship, and he was twice the Mountain West Coach of the Year. So, and he was a quarterback there, obviously, as well. So,
as a fan of a good story, I kind of hope he does. I hope he gets that job.
I mean, when they came here, his kids, and they'd all grown up there, and it was in their blood, so to speak. So who knows?
Yeah, maybe he's at the point where he enjoys not being the guy.
It could be, yeah, and could be, and maybe he also sees himself as a guy that could be a Power 5 or Power 4 coach again, and because he's rehabilitating his career now with being in that position at Kansas State after being an analyst for a couple of years at Oklahoma. So it's all, anytime you kind of have a setback and then you go and kind of work on your craft, so to speak. I mean, we've seen plenty of coaches that have been fired at high profile jobs and then gone to other places and then come out of it and went, okay, this is what I learned after I learned on the job, that, hey, this, you can't do this or you can do that, and I can approach this better and approach that better. So who knows? But anyway, it was just a thought. 6:54 this morning here on the Morning Drive. If you have a thought or a comment, hit us up on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Go to WT973.com for that, or the mobile app. Here's a quick yes/no question. Should both Don Mattingly and Keith Hernandez be in the Hall of Fame?
I think they both come up short with their numbers. Big fan of both of them, though.
Yeah.
Thought they were great players.
Yeah. And maybe good, but not quite good enough. All right.
I would have no issue if both of them were elected, though.
Me too. I'd be happy.
Yeah. I wouldn't have any problem with that. Yeah.
Your daily dose of sports and fun. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Double T 97.3. We're back to baseball tonight with the Astros in Seattle against the Mariners. 8:40, the broadcast time. First pitch after 9 tonight, and they'll play tomorrow night and then Sunday afternoon, and all those games on 100.7 The Score. Rangers back in action tonight. They'll take on the Baltimore Orioles. We'll have it at 6:30. Balls and strikes after 7 tonight, and the Rangers will play tomorrow night, 5:30 the broadcast time, and then Sunday afternoon at 1 o'clock. All of those games in the comfortable comfort of the Ranger Ballpark there in Arlington.
Comfortable comfort.
Comfortable comfort, yeah.
As opposed to uncomfortable comfort.
Yeah, right. Well, if they had the, they ought to, when they do their, here's a thought for you, and this is probably very stupid, and it wouldn't go over very well because people would complain about it. But when they do their...
Wait. Yes, I'm recording. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Here's a thought for you for the Rangers, okay? When they do their throwback uniforms, okay, they should do it on a Sunday afternoon when it's like 108, and then leave the roof open so that people get the full experience of the throwback of what it was like back in the day. Okay?
Okay.
All right, so let's go to the board. Let's find out, was that a stupid statement?
Are we waiting?
Doesn't know. Because here's the thing, there's some truth in it. Yes, it was a stupid statement. No one wants to sit in this at 90-degree outfield walls.
Do we have
It's really the humidity, really.
Yeah, do we have a board, or do you have a board of directors in there? Do you have some
I was waiting for the board to actually say what it the scoreboard had to make the determination. There was a judging panel.
I was like really slow. Yeah. We're gonna start.
Do the Rangers ever wear throwback jerseys? It'd be cool if they did.
I think the turn back the clock nights got replaced by the City Connect uniforms.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and aren't you only allowed so many uniforms now?
And that's why the Rangers don't wear red anymore. Mm-hmm. Because they lost the red uniform for City Connects.
Oh boy, that was a great decision.
Yeah, I like the old Ranger whites with the blues, and
I like the Carolina blue look. Those were pretty cool.
I like the old school Ranger look, not the current white with the Ranger on it. I mean, I realize they still have that. Talking about the old school one. Anyway. Bullfighter says, yeah, no thanks. I'd rather not fry while watching my Rangers play now. Yeah, you're spoiled. We coddled the fans.
Please send all of your complaints to Chuck Hines at 620 Avenue O, Lubbock, Texas.
It's a bit rich probably for me to say that.
Yeah, I think there's been mentions of
it's a bit rich.
Leaving tech football games.
I have not
moving and all this moved, because of the heat or the cold.
We've moved, but we've not left. I have not left because of heat. Lucky lady, had a little bit of a challenge because just of some other issues, but I mean, I have not left.
Walk it back, Chuck.
That is Chuck Hines.
You need a shovel, bud?
That is Chuck Hines at 620 Avenue O, courtesy of Raymark Communications.
I did buy seats on the west side for the first half against the Oregon game, so that would be more comfortable for us. In the second half, we went over to our seats. Just took advantage of that. Let's see here. I saw this and I wanted to get your take on this. This is another opinion for you. Okay, and I think you're going to agree with him now. I agree with him on this. Nick Saben talked about the college football playoff and the selection of the 12 teams. Okay. He said this, he goes, I think the expanded playoff is going to be great for fans. Where we had a 14 playoff, you only had maybe 7 or 8 teams that their fan base got really excited at the end of the season to see if they got in the playoffs. I think that's completely true, and maybe even less than that. Okay. He said, now you're going to have 25 or 30 fan bases that are excited to see who gets in the playoffs, because it's going to be like a pennant race, right? Towards the end of the season,
more teams are involved.
More teams are involved, and so it makes it Captain Obvious stuff that more fan bases are going to be there. However, he says this: he wants to see the best 12 teams in the college football playoff. Okay? He said the downside of it is, I just wish we could put the best 12 teams in the playoff, not worry about conference champions and all that kind of stuff. If you do get beat in a conference championship game and you're one of the best teams, you still should get in there because you played really quality opponents and you played good football. So he wants strength of schedule to be a component in the 12 teams and take away the, quote, automatic bids.
I don't have a problem with the automatic bids for the 4 Power Fours.
Okay.
I don't have a problem with that. I don't think any of them that win that, it's going to be pretty rare that one of them wins that and is not deserving of being in the top 12.
Sure.
It's going to be pretty rare. Yeah, my beef is putting an automatic bid for the highest ranking non-Power 4.
Mm-hmm.
If they're not in the top 12, they shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
I'll also say this: in what other sport, and I'm open for the suggestion of what this sport would be that I am not thinking of at the moment, are you guaranteed to have every of the top best whatever teams in the playoffs every single year? There's not one, because there's a lot in every sport. You've got division champions that would go on. You've got, and then you go to wild cards. You've got in the NCAA for the NCAA tournament. Not the top 64 teams make that.
Mm-hmm.
No.
There's automatic bids for.
You got 32 bids basically
that take all that out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we all know there's plenty of teams there that wouldn't beat the 11th place team in the Big 12 conference, but
right.
they're in.
But they're in the NCAA
Right.
tournament.
Right.
In Major League Baseball, while it's closer now with the extended wild card, there's probably a case for somebody who would have won somebody else's division missing out on the playoffs because they were in a tough division that year. And 2 wild cards already came out. So
yeah, it's still pretty rare, I would think.
Yeah.
But it's not a guarantee that the top best teams are always in the playoffs. That is how the playoffs work. Win your division, you get to go in. That's how it is in every sport.
I mean,
and I do think it's awfully rich of Nick Saban, now that he's not the coach of Alabama, to be for a college football playoff when it wasn't too long ago he didn't want to extend it to 4.
past 4, you mean?
No, didn't want to extend it to 4. He thought there was no reason. It was player safety at that point. Because, we got to play these extra games now. We already know who the 2 best teams are. Why do we have to have a playoff?
Yeah. Okay. I mean, and that's a fair comment. But I'm with Jamie. I wish it wasn't, adding this other team in and just make it the best 12. And I'm with you too on the conference champions. I've got no problem with the SEC, Big 10, ACC, and Big 12 champion, getting, a bye or getting into the 12. So
yeah, guaranteed spot. I just feel like it's really going to be really rare that a team wins that one of those conferences and is not one of the top 12 teams.
And now what may happen in the Big 12's case is you may have somebody that wins the Big 12 regular season title and then loses in the Big 12 championship game.
I don't think there's any such thing as a Big 12 regular season title.
Yeah, I guess.
Or SEC regular season title. This is not basketball.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I guess.
Or baseball.
Yeah.
You don't really do those in football.
Yeah, that's true. I guess that's true. You do it in basketball.
And baseball.
Yeah. It's all well and good until you realize the Big 10 and the SEC pick the pecking order of the playoffs. Yeah. No, Nick, this should not be an exclusive SEC and Big 10 playoff. That from Robert. Yeah, that's
well,
exactly.
But if they have the top 12 teams, then that's what we're looking for, right?
Yeah.
We're looking for the best 12.
The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Okay, gentlemen, let's assume that Clemson and Florida State are coming to the Big 12 conference.
Okay.
But you only want 16 teams. They're in. Who are the 2 that are out?
Okay. Did you like that?
Loved it.
I've had my druthers had sent TCU and Houston out. For me, West Virginia just seems like it's an odd stick. But now that you've got Cincinnati there, they're gonna stick. But I'd say kick Houston to the curb. And let's kick West Virginia to the curb. I just don't see the value of either one of them to this league. Those are my 2.
Should come as no surprise. I'm about to say Houston should be kicked out. We should just kick them out already. We'll go to 15 at this point. The second one I would kick out would be Colorado. They're the one that doesn't fit of the new ones coming in for a rival. You've got Utah and BYU rivalry there. Arizona State rivalry there out on the West Coast. If you're bringing in Florida State and Clemson, that they're on the East Coast. So getting rid of an East Coast team doesn't make sense to me. Colorado's the odd man out. Sorry, Dion. Go forth and go away. But Houston first. Houston twice if I had that option.
Why so much hate for Houston?
I don't know. I just feel like that it's Cougar High. I feel like the people there don't care. So why should we?
Houston brings the conference nothing, and that's on a good day.
Bring them a really good basketball team.
Well, that's it.
We got a lot of really good basketball teams.
That's it for the moment. They do. I mean, they have a really good basketball team. That's it.
Brought the baseball team 3 wins.
Okay, that's
Okay.
So you kick out Colorado and Iowa State?
I have no issue with Houston. That's actually a good thought, Jeff, but that was not my thought. I'm getting rid of Cincinnati and West Virginia. I just feel like they don't feel like Big 12 teams to me. I get that Clemson's going to be a little bit by themselves there. You'll have UCF and Florida State in Florida, but West Virginia and Cincinnati just have never felt like Big 12 teams to me. I don't mean to... I'm not saying either one of them's not a good school or good athletic department or whatever. I just both regionally or putting them on a map, and then the fact that they just don't feel like Big 12 schools to me.
No, I think that's the reasonable answer. I mean I was 50% reasonable, which is kind of on par for me. I think 50% of the time I think I'm reasonable. Then 50% I'm irrational. I mean, and some may say, and there's days where my percentage irrational is substantially higher. Could be maybe as high as 95%. Okay. I would tell you on a good day, my reasonability is probably 70. Okay. But yeah, I think you're right. I mean, nothing when you go to Cincinnati or West Virginia just screams, "Oh, that looks like us." That looks like the Big 12. And I think what Greg Sankey had to say the other day about the regionality of the SEC. I mean, there's a lot to be said for that. I mean, in terms of being able to get from here to there, and pretty good. I mean, you got to work. You got to work to go. I mean, if you wanted to go to all the away games for Tech basketball or Tech baseball or heck, even Texas Tech football. I mean, it's expensive. I mean, you're going to Washington State. You're going to Arizona. You're going to now. TCU is
but don't count the Washington State one. That's a non-conference game. We're just talking about
the Big 12. So going to Tucson. I mean, it's easier, and TCU is a drive, and Iowa State's that's a challenge to get there. Oklahoma State is a drive, so it's a little bit easier this year. But man, there's a lot of years where you're getting on two planes to go to a game, as opposed to back in the day being able to drive to virtually almost any game.
How did you bring up all of that and try to make your point and not bring up Cincinnati, West Virginia, and UCF?
Well, because you're not playing them this year.
Oh, okay.
That's right. I was just talking about this year.
This year.
Yeah, I was just talking about this year. But yeah, right. What do you mean it doesn't feel like a Big 12 school? Is it just based on geography? Yeah, it's based on geography. It's based on...
That's part of it.
And I think just kind of based on when you... I mean, it just... I mean, look, you go to Oklahoma, you go to Stillwater, and it's like, okay, they're a lot like us. K-State, a lot like us,
Yeah. So with me personally, I look at Cincinnati and I look at West Virginia, and I know they're not right on the coast, but I kind of feel like that's East Coast. Okay. Mm-hmm. And as I said before, Clemson's kind of would be by themselves there. I look at the two. You would have the two Florida schools together. And I know Cincinnati and West Virginia are together too, but you're keeping the two Florida schools, and I don't know. I just those just feel like East Coast schools to me, and we're not an East Coast conference.
Yeah,
and that kind of it's not the East Coast Conference, but we are a Power 4 conference. Houston doesn't act like a Power 4 conference team member. They act like a Conference USA member. They're not they're not the third most popular school in their city. They're behind Texas. They're behind A&M. They're behind us, and they're behind LSU.
Yeah, I'd probably
people in Houston laugh at the Cougars.
Wouldn't you say for Houston, it would be Houston, it would be Texas, it would be A&M, Texas, LSU, then us?
It depends on where you're at in Houston. I mean, okay. I think the west side would definitely be more A&M centric since they're closer to College Station. Mm-hmm. I don't know what the split would be for Texas and A&M, but I still think Texas would be first.
I think if you were at like a Texas Tech alumni event, we'd be number one.
Yes,
probably so.
100%
yeah, right.
But LSU is more popular in Houston than U of H is. Why do you think everybody from Houston calls it Cougar High?
No, I know.
Everybody from Houston calls it Cougar High.
I know. You've made that crystal clear for us over the years.
This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
We've been doing this all summer. We got a couple more numbers to go through. Who wore it better or who wore it best? What's the correct grammar on that? Who wore it
Better.
best?
Better.
Most bestest.
Who wore it better? Because I will fully admit, we have not done all of the research throughout the history of every possible person who could have worn this number.
Okay.
We've done a decent job. We've done some research.
You did this, so
I've had some help. There's been some help.
Okay.
But we did not go through 100 years of athletics at Texas Tech when they were doing numbers to make sure that this is the best list.
I got
This
you.
is the who wore it better of this list.
Okay, so better is the proper.
Better is the proper.
Better is the
Very
proper.
smart of you, Jeff.
All right, so can we recap real quick? Who wore it better? Number 2.
You can. That should have been something I was ready for. Let's see here. Because that is a natural question to have. I was ready for the one we're about to do.
We'll get there.
Davide Moretti had 58.3% of the vote. He won. He beat Baron Batch, who took second with 37.4, and Hunter Hargrove was 4.3.
That was number 25.
That was
number 25.
Two.
Number 2, B.J. Simmons, 44%. Chase Young, 36%. Zaire Smith, 12%. And Kiki Kuti was 7%.
Okay.
B.J. Simmons won over
Jace.
Jace,
Young.
Zaire, and Kiki.
Yeah. Okay, now we're.
Well,
Does that disappoint you?
I don't think it makes a whole lot of sense.
Because BJ just had the one big year and Jace
He
had.
just had 1 year. I mean, yeah, Jace was a top 15 pick.
Yeah.
Well, 44 to 36. It was a close race. One of the more closer ones we've had.
You kind of split your vote on this because
I did. I went back and forth between those two.
Because with us you picked Jace,
Right.
okay?
And then with
End of
David,
the bench.
when I did with David the first time, I also went BJ. The second time I went, I've went back and forth on this one.
Yeah, you went. So which were you?
Well, right now I'm at Jace now because it's time to go back. I am dead split, but like it's 1A, 1B on those two for me.
So now let's go to number 1.
We are doing number 1 today, and that is Jordan Barncastle, Jordan Brooks, Cody Farhat, Brandon Francis. We know who Chuck's voting for.
Man, it's got to be Brandon Francis. I mean,
You're not voting for the Lady Raider?
I mean, I have a lot of respect for Jordan Barncastle.
I'm kidding.
Especially the fact that she took a punch from Brittany Griner and then hit free throws.
I mean, come on, Chuck.
Man, of course I met Chuck. That's my guy.
Yeah. I mean, Brandon Francis was, basically a defensive stop or us committing a foul from being the most outstanding player of the Final Four.
Jordan Brooks by a landslide. Yeah.
That's probably that is probably
Brandon Francis was a role player.
That's true. I mean,
Jordan Brooks was your star defensive player at the time. He's a first-round draft pick, and he's been near the league leaders in tackles.
I would say I was being
healthy.
logical, but just voted with my heart there.
Okay. I mean, I don't have, I feel like I have heartstrings pulling of all of the guys.
Sure, yeah, right, for everybody.
well.
Right,
And
Jeff, who are you going with today?
oh, today it's Jordan Brooks. It's no doubt Jordan Brooks for me on this one.
Okay.
When he kind of gets tagged in some of that same thing that like Kiki did, that you get some with Jakeem a little bit for playing on a bad team. I mean, he was part of the better defensive shift that you had, but we don't think of those as great defenses. We don't. He's on par. He should be on par in our minds with a guy like Zach Thomas for how good he was, but he's not because of how bad that team was. And it's disappointing because he's still fun to watch. I check out to see what he's done every week. when I wrap up the day on Sunday and check on the guys. And he's one of the guys that I want to know and keep tabs on, because he was a lot of fun to watch here, and he was really good here doing what he did. He just had no help.
Yeah, that's very fair. I mean, he played Tech 2016 through 2019. Then with the Seahawks, drafted by the Seahawks, and is now with the Miami Dolphins. So
that's right. I forgot he signed with the Dolphins this offseason.
Yeah.
Man, that's so disappointing.
You can root for the Dolphin defense.
No, I can.
You can't?
I can.
Okay.
No.
It's all or nothing? Okay.
I'm rooting for that team.
I understand. All right. So here's the question then with regard to the Dallas Cowboys. You can pontificate, or you can say yes, no. I'd prefer that you pontificate. With the Dak dilemma, defensive changes, and quote bills coming due, is this the Cowboys' last run?
When was their first?
Well, I mean, he said last year that we'll be going all in 2024, and then 2 months later, Jerry Jones said this team will get it done with less. Now you have a situation where the Cowboys, who were 29th in cash spending in 2022 and 10th last year, they're currently dead last in after this last season, after a quiet offseason, making the 5th time in Dak's 9 seasons that the Cowboys rank in the bottom half of the league in spending. Okay, whose fault is that? That's Dak Prescott's fault, because he took
Jerry Jones.
Yeah.
I mean, but Jerry's the one who ultimately decides how much he pays Dak, and
Sure.
how much money he sets aside to use on other positions besides the quarterback one.
This year, his cap hit is $55 million. There's only one other player who counts for more, and that's Deshaun Watson, who just does not look like he's going to be anywhere near what he used to be.
At least Dak is a much, much better human being.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I have my problems with Dak Prescott. He is not a bad guy.
Yeah. There was that little COVID party.
He is not a bad guy.
Yeah. I agree.
So they've got to take care of CeeDee Lamb, which we think is going to happen before the season starts, right?
Good chance.
Micah Parsons.
CeeDee's a wide receiver, so pretty much it means if he doesn't get done before the season, he probably just sits, right?
We skipped OTAs and the mandatory minicamp.
Do.
And he's not expected to show up for training camp without a new deal.
Yeah, it's a rite of passage for wide receivers.
Okay, that they
just don't show.
They don't show.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
If they're not getting the money they want.
Yeah. So they still got to take care of Micah Parsons too.
Mm-hmm. Seems like he should be pretty high on that list.
Micah Parsons?
Yeah, number 1 on the list of those 3.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't win without a quarterback, and deadlines get deals done. So it's going to be CD and Dak, and you're going to let Micah Parsons go, because I don't think, and nobody thinks you can sign all 3. That's what I think happens.
I think they're going to sign CD and Micah Parsons, and they're going to say to Dak, if you win.
God, I would love that if that happened. It's not going to happen.
Man, if they let Micah Parsons walk.
I don't think they're going to let Micah Parsons walk.
I don't either.
I think they're going to take care of CD and Micah and say to Dak, it's a performance-based business, young man. Time for you to...
his performance in the regular season has been pretty good.
Okay. It's a postseason game. It's a postseason business. Just get into the quote tournament, and then let's see what you can do. All right.
This has been the Morning Drive Podcast, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Check out our library of Double T 97.3 podcasts at doublet973.com.